A strategic alliance is a partnership between two or more firms that seek to achieve mutual benefits through cooperation, sharing the resources, and combining capabilities to accomplish a common goal. Such alliances can take various forms such as joint ventures, licensing agreements, research and development partnerships, making collaboration, and supply chains partnership. The negotiation and design of a strategic alliance is a crucial aspect that can determine the success or failure of a partnership. According to Cayley, effective negotiation involves identifying and addressing potential areas of conflict and misunderstanding, defining clear goals and objectives, establishing a governance structure and decision-making process, and developing a solid contract that outlines the rights, responsibility, and obligation of each party. Furthermore, the authors emphasize the importance of designing a strategic alliances that aligns with the partners' strategic objectives, complements their core competence, and provides a competitive advantage. The design process should also consider factors such as cultural compatibility, risk management, and performance metrics to ensure the partnership effectiveness and sustainability. For instance, one of example of success strategy alliance is the partnership between Starbucks and PepsiCo, which resulted in the creation of a bottle Frappuccino drinks. Through this alliance, Starbucks leveraged PepsiCo's distribution network and expertise in the beverage industry to expand its research and generate revenue, while PepsiCo gained access to Starbucks brand recognition and customer base. So negotiation and designing a strategic alliance requires careful and consideration of various factors to achieve a mutually beneficial partnership that aligns with the partner's strategic objectives, enhances their competitive advantage, and sustain their long-term success.
The parties that are involved in a strategic alliances are companies that come together to achieve a common goal, such as developing a joint product or entering a new market. These companies may or may not be direct competitors, and the alliances may be short or long term. So, regarding the context, strategic alliances have become an important tool for companies seeking to improve their competitiveness in an increasingly complex and globalization business environment. Strategic alliances allow companies to share resources and knowledge, which can reduce costs and increase efficiency. They can also help companies access to new markets and expand their customer base. So now about the short chronology and the test don't talk much about previous studies, so we can find only three moments. The first in 1999 and was a story among four international joint venture based in Russia, which revealed 90 successful strategies to minimize conflicts, leading to the key to an alliance successful is a strong relationship between partners backed by trust and mutual commitments. The second, and in the same year as the first, was a case of when an alliance ended, where the New York Subways hoped to be more efficient and joined various companies, including Springboard. At the beginning, the negotiations were going very well, but as the process and conflicting agendas arose, and also where each party wanted to obtain a good alliance was not respected, for which reason the negotiations ended shortly after. And the third and the last in 2002 was a story of international joint ventures in Korea, which found that split control produced higher returns than shared control. This is because it results in a decision making structure that is efficient, collaborative, and synergistic.
The purpose of a strategic alliance is to form a mutually beneficial partnership between two or more companies to achieve a common goal. This type of allows companies to leverage their complementary strengths, resources, and expertise to gain a competitive advantage and achieve their strategic objectives. One example of a strategic alliance is the partnership between Starbucks and PepsiCo. Starbucks sells bottled coffee drinks under the Starbucks brand, which are produced and distributed by PepsiCo. This alliance enables Starbucks to reach a wider audience and expand its products offering beyond its traditional coffee shops. Meanwhile, PepsiCo gains access to the highly recognizable Starbucks brand and a new market in the ready-to-drink coffee industry. This strategic alliance has been highly successful for both companies and has helped them to achieve their respective business objectives. The purpose of these islands is to leverage PepsiCo's distribution network and expertise in the beverage industry to expand the ability and accessibility of Starbucks RDT products to a wider audience. Through this partnership, Starbucks is able to increase its brand's exposure and revenue streams, while PepsiCo is able to add a highly popular and recognizable brand to its portfolio of products. The alliance between Starbucks and PepsiCo is a prime example of how two companies with complementary strengths can form a mutually beneficial partnership to achieve a common goal.
So when we talk about our roles and responsibilities, we have in two groups. The first is the executive level team. This group is in charge of establishing the commitments and the parameters of the negotiation. Within these groups are higher ranking executives who are in charge of strategy adjustments and financial objectives. These are the ones who have the greatest participation in the negotiation and therefore the greatest responsibility for decision making. The second is the second level teams. On the contrary, the second group focused on the operational equipment and the daily problems related of the implementation of the companies. Within these are the operational managers who are in charge of the specific contributions of partners, the operational structures authorities, also the operational process, the operational policies that include the escalation and resolution of problems, and finally the detailed finances. This group works in collaboration with the firms to achieve the objective of the license, and this ensures that it is profitability and beneficial. So now about the equity structure, it is necessary to establish the appropriate conditions to share the risks and benefits fairly. This includes the definition of the intellectual property, the financing decision making, and the control of the alliances. In addition, the mechanism for conflict resolution and risk mitigation shall be established without forgetting some elements such as the terms and conditions, which must be clear. Secondly, the business plan and the strategy, which define the objectives and have an implementation framework, as well as a current communication, and finally, the constant evaluation to know how things are progressing. This taking in account the three things that must be achieved in the negotiations. First, the establishment of the mutual interest of potential partners and takes their strategy fits. Second, provide an opportunity to build a foundation of trust and to develop a problem solving. And the third, establish a business and operational plan for the company proposal.
Both companies have solved the market complexity and competition. The type of alliance between Starbucks and PepsiCo is licensing alliance, where PepsiCo has the license from Starbucks to produce, distribute, and sell its cold brew coffee around the world, and Starbucks is responsible for providing the recipe and the ingredients. Through this successful alliance, both companies take advantage of the strengths of PepsiCo precision and experience in the distribution of products and beverages around the world, and Starbucks' good name is in the distribution of quality coffee. All this allows two people to enjoy delicious cold brew Starbucks coffee in any store without having to go to a Starbucks store. In the United States, this brand have the highest market share, with more than the 90% of the market. By the way, one of the goals for this alliance is grow the market share in Latin America.
Some of the recommendations to ensure a successful alliance are firstly, establish a mutual interest of potential partners and test their strategy and see if they fit. It is important that both parties have a mutual and complementary interest for the alliance to be successful. Additionally, it is necessary to test if the strategic objectives of both companies align with each other. This can be achieved by conducting a detailed analysis of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of each company. And number two, provide an opportunity to create a foundation of trust and develop a problem solving attitude. Trust is a key factor in any successful business relationship. Therefore, it is important that companies establish a solid foundation of trust from the beginning. This can be achieved throughout an open and honest communication, transparency at all stages of the process, and clear establishment of mutual expectations. Additionally, it is important that both parties adopt a positive attitude towards joint problem solving as they arise during the implementation of the agreement.